Okay, asik macam ni. Bagus. Hi guys, my name is Kal Dosanjh. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of KidsPlay and a police officer as well. A little bit about myself before we get started. So I was born to a Punjabi family and I have one brother, and my dad immigrated to from Punjab to Canada back in 1968. He was sponsored by his sister, and obviously being a new immigrant, he was looking for a job. Back in the day, there was only two types of industries that primarily all the Punjabis got into. Either it was farming or the lumber industry. So naturally, he gravitated into the lumber industry because he did have a lot of relatives there. And one thing led to another, and once he was settled here in Canada, he went back to Punjab, got married to my mom, and shortly thereafter I arrived. And so since then, I grew up in Delta and got my secondary education, and then I naturally transitioned to university. So while university, I wanted to go to law school. And so for me, the adversarial and advocate nature of law was always important because I was always about representing the lower socioeconomic class, the labor working class, because that's where I came from. It's about helping one another out. And so as far as I was concerned, law was this equal playing field, and justice was always about being bestowed upon those who deserved it the most. And that was my responsibility. And so once I got into university, then I started pursuing my double major in criminology and psychology. And I remember it was in my third year that I had an opportunity to participate in the Summer Student Constable program that was put on by the RCMP. So I applied, I got accepted, and I think with about 15 other candidates, we were given basic fundamental training, which included driving training, physical combat training, and also legal studies. And once we graduated from the miniaturized police academy, we were put on the streets. We didn't have any weapons, but it was an amazing time. The reason why I'd gone into the Summer Student Constable program was it was an opportunity to see the other side of law. One side is obviously the judicial system where you practice as a lawyer in court, and the other side, which is policing and from a law enforcement point of view. And that's always fascinated me because the thing is, I was always involved in sports, I was always active. So the policing lifestyle was always of interest to me, but more importantly than that, it was always about, as a police officer, you wear a uniform, you're a first level responder on the street, and you have an opportunity to connect with kids. More importantly, connect with the community, and you can make a significant change if you choose to do so. So after I finished the Summer Student Constable program, it was almost this epiphany or revelation where I realized, you know what, there's more I can do with this. And so as soon as I finished the Summer Student Constable program, and I was in my last year of university, I actually applied to become a police officer with my respective police department, and I was accepted. So there began my journey as a police officer. Anytime you enter into a challenging, foreign type of environment, something new, it's going to be mysterious. It's going to be the unknown. It's an unquantified variable, and there's a lot to learn. So when I first got into policing and I was sent to the police academy, it was very overwhelming, very inundating, and there was a lot to learn, but it was challenging at the same time. But I was up for the challenge. As far as I was concerned, my mind had been made up. That's exactly what I wanted to do, regardless of all the barriers and mitigating factors and all the challenges I would have to face. I would overcome all those obstacles. And I did. So I finished the first half of the police academy, then I was put out on the street, which is part of the second half of training. And I remember my first day I was put out into the downtown east side, and while working in the downtown east side, which is considered one of the most dangerous areas in North America, it was absolute eye-opener because I'd come from a very secure type of background, never really been exposed to the drug scene or the gang scene or any of the other stuff that happens in the seedy underbelly of society. So when it came to assaults, extortions, kidnappings, I had no exposure to any of that. I wasn't aware of any of that. I think my view always had been black and white. And so being exposed to that, like I said, I began to understand the other side of the equation, the other side of the world, how things really operate, the human condition. And seeing it for the very first time, like I said, one or two things is going to happen. Either you're going to realize, okay, you know what, I can't do this, I can't handle this, or you're going to go further into it because you're going to realize, you know what, this is my calling, a call of duty of sorts. And it was my call. And so I've never looked back. I think there's a very glamorized, romanticized Hollywood version of policing when you think about it. A lot of the gunplay, the car chases, kicking down doors, running after bad guys, taking them down. Sure, there is all of that, and I've seen it all, and I've been a part of it all. But at the same time, there's that other element to it as well, the human dynamic, the human condition, where It basically comes down to the fundamental essence of why we're here, what our purpose is, to help one another out, to be our brother's keeper. And that's exactly how I perceived my role in the community, because the thing is, it's not just about a matter of putting on a uniform, jumping into a police car, having a gun, having a badge, looking cool, going out there, making a couple of arrests, high fives, coming back, and that's the end of your day. It's not about that. It's about giving back. We have a social moral obligation. Sure, policing is a form of service, but above and beyond that, we can also make a measurable impact in somebody's life. Somebody that needs help, somebody that's looking for help, somebody that just doesn't know how to ask for it. That's where we can extend the olive branch, reach out our hand, pick that person off the ground metaphorically, and help them on with their lives. And there was a couple of major calls that I came across, especially that involved children, where I remember I saw these children that were engaged in the drug market, that were not only selling, but they were also using. And I just realized, is it just about arresting these kids, putting them through our judicial system so they go through our courts, they end up at YDC, which is the Youth Detention Center, which is their form of jail for kids, and they come back out, and once again, they're perpetuating this vicious cycle. And I realized at some point in time, we have to intervene. We have to stop this cycle, and we have to make a conscious decision that we can actually make a significant difference in these kids' lives. But in order to facilitate that goal, not only do we have to have the right mindset, but you also need to have the right resources in order to do it. And so it was just a matter of bringing the right people on board and having the vision that we can actually help these kids out. And one step led to the other, and that's where we first created a soccer program in the downtown east side for these kids called the BET PAL Youth Soccer Tournament. So I want you to think of something. I want you to think of kids that come from families that are dysfunctional. What would you do if your dad was addicted to alcohol and drugs? Your mom was a prostitute. Your brother was sitting in jail for drug dealing, and you're left on your own. Naturally, what kind of environment would that, what kind of byproduct would that environment create? Who would you become? So I've had a lot of these kids come up to me and say to me, "Officer, what did you expect of me?" Naturally, I was going to be a drug dealer, or naturally, I was going to go into that criminal lifestyle because that's where I come from. And that bothered me a lot. It bothered me because the thing is, I realized, you know what, as an officer, are we simply going to continue perpetuating this and be a part of the problem, or are we going to be part of the solution? And so by creating these sports programs, we gave these kids an opportunity to be kids again. So that soccer program that we created in the downtown east side, it was a free program that we created. And that morning, I remember going down, and it was in the middle of the downtown east side. There was used condoms. There was needles lying around from drug use. We cleaned up the fields, and kids came down from the elementary schools. We put on a soccer tournament for them. We gave them certificates, we gave them trophies, we gave them medals, we gave them food, we gave them soccer balls, t-shirts. We made it a fun day for these kids. A lot of you might say, well, what difference is a one-day soccer tournament going to make for these kids? It has to start somewhere. You plant the seed, and over the years, you will nourish it, you will water it until it grows into a full tree. But it's your responsibility to make sure that we can do everything within our power and capacity to help these kids out. I wasn't surprised by the results of that program that we put on, because those kids, like I said, they had never experienced something like that before. And a lot of them came from impoverished, lower socioeconomic backgrounds. So by putting on these sports programs, they experienced something new, something positive, a constructive outlet where they could express themselves positively. So one thing led to another. And that served as the impetus and the catalyst for creating KidsPlay. So in 2015, Anjan Puller, who's an Olympic wrestler for Canada and represented in 2010 and came back with a medal, him and I, we got together and we decided we need to do more. We need to create, duplicate, and recreate these kind of programs and transition them into the general public outside of the policing sphere as well. And so we created a nonprofit, a registered society called KidsPlay in 2015. And what we essentially did is we wanted to give these kids a free opportunity to engage in positive programs such as education, such as sports. So we put on forums, conferences, we put on different types of educational presentations, drugs, gangs, bullying, racism. And we also put on sports programs, soccer, cricket, wrestling, MMA, you name it, basketball. So we went from one end of the spectrum to the other. And we did not want any of these programs to be financially restrictive or prohibitive to these parents in terms of allowing their kids to participate. Because a lot of times some of these parents might say, we simply can't afford it. We wanted to remove that out of the equation. We wanted to give these kids who never had a chance or an opportunity, an equal opportunity to be successful in life. So since 2015 till now, we've had over, I'm happy to say, 25,000 kids that have participated in our program. And it's massive and it's growing. And the reason why is because I put together a solid team of young leaders and individuals in our community who want to make a change. And the biggest change comes from a group of like-minded individuals who want to institute change. And they have the passion and the drive to want to do it. So any registered nonprofit society, that wants to give back to the community, it can't operate in its own silo. It can't be compartmentalized on its own. It has to be a concerted, collaborative effort by multiple agencies, multiple levels. That includes government, that includes communities, that includes schools, that includes policing, where all of us come together in a partnership, shoulder to shoulder, in order to make a difference. Now, parents simply can't point their fingers at police and say, you're not doing enough. Parents can't simply point their fingers at the school saying, not enough's being done. All of us need to work together, and that's why we have collaborated with different agencies, we have collaborated with different partnerships, and we're trying to make a difference together. Because as a community, the old saying goes that it takes a village to raise a child. And we are a village. All of us need to work together. All of us need to have the same thought process if we're going to make a difference in the lives of these children. But the biggest difference that has been made, and the most impressive difference that has been made, is by all our sponsors. I can tell you for a fact that without them, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. These individuals, these organizations, these institutions had the vision and the fortitude and the resolve to want to make a difference. And we all came together. And it might be just their money, but more importantly, it's their sense of corporate social responsibility that they want to make a difference in these communities that they have their businesses in. And a little bit of money went a long way. Because the thing is, with us, we're all volunteers. Not a single cent goes to paying any type of wage or salary. Every single cent goes right back into the program where we can help out these kids and we can build different programs for them. And we're creating a bright future, not only for these communities, but every single child matters, and we will make a difference together. So for the newcomers that are coming to Canada, I'll say one thing. There is no such thing as an easy ride. Now, I've seen a lot of immigrants that have come here, that have worked hard, such as my parents who wanted to give back. Not only to give back to the communities, but more importantly, they worked hard. They worked 2 jobs if they had to so they could put food on the table for their families. There are a lot of families like that. And when you come to Canada, I'm sure you come with a lot of dreams, a lot of visions. You want to make a difference. But it's your responsibility not just to be self-absorbed in your own particular objectives in terms of raising your families, but more importantly, give back. It's all about working together as a community and wanting to make a difference. I'll give you a specific metaphor which I was raised with. Now, it's called the toad in the well. So there was a baby toad in a well, and he said to his parents, he said, I'd like to go see the world. And his parents said, sure, you go ahead and do that, and we'll see you when you get back. So what did this tadpole do? He took 1 rotation around the inside of the well, and he came back and he goes, I've seen the world. The point of that story is that we can either live our lives like that toad in the well, where our world is just consumed to a very narrow, myopic point of view that's one-dimensional. Or we can step out of the well and see the rest of the world. And we can all work together because there is a bigger world out there and we all have a responsibility to stand shoulder to shoulder and make a difference. So when it comes to your kids, I'll treat your kids like mine and the rest of the community will as well. But you also have an equal responsibility, is that treat everybody as your own. Because when we work together, that's when we make the difference. So for the new generation, I want to give you an analogy that was given to me a long time ago in terms of why I do what I do. And I want you to keep this in mind because this also applies to you. You are going to be the future leaders of tomorrow that are going to make a difference in the lives of others. It was a small little boy that was walking on the beach, and he saw a lot of starfish that were beached in the sand, and they were dying because the tide had gone out. And so what he would do is every starfish that he'd see dying, he'd pick it up and he'd throw it back in the water. He kept doing this along the way as he was walking. An older gentleman that was walking in the opposite direction saw him doing this. And the older gentleman, at one point in time as their paths were about to cross, the older gentleman stopped the boy and asked him, he said, what are you doing? Look around you. There's so many starfish that are dying. What difference do you think you're going to make? What difference do you think it makes to eat starfish? How many do you think you'll save? The boy did not answer. His response was, he picked up a starfish and he put it in the water. And then he asked that old man, he goes, ask that starfish what difference it's going to make. And for me, I'm not out here as a source of salvation or to redeem myself in terms of saving every single child out there possible, because I know that's not realistic. But what I can do as one human being is work together with others who are like-minded individuals and make a difference in every child's life who I can work with. Same with you. Today, you stand here. It's not just about going out partying, clubbing, having a good time, getting bottle service. It's about more than that. find out what your true purpose is. Get out there and try to make a difference in the lives of others, because I can tell you, you have the capacity, you have the resources, you have the help, and you have the brains to do it. And now it's not just a matter of living your life in self-absorbed purpose. It's about getting out there, going beyond what you're capable of,